Benny Cotter, welcome. How are you?
Very good. Thanks for having me.
No worries, mate.
Excited to get stuck in.
Yeah.
Third guest, I think.
You are the third guest.
Yeah.
How's that feel?
Yeah, pretty good. Bronze medal.
Yeah. Take that. Mate, we appreciate you jumping on and joining us. We've done a few of these now. The whole purpose is to try and educate and upskill and connect some of our team. You know, we don't get as many touch points as we used to with our crews these days. And as the org has grown, you know, it's pretty crazy to think that, you know, we've known each other for 10 years when only one of these marketing companies exist. And now we've got companies in Melbourne, Sydney, Adelaide, Hobart, and there's people everywhere. And so connectivity is always a challenge, right? So the point of these is to help explain who's who, I guess, and provide context and hopefully people can learn some stuff. And the first two have been really good so far, so no pressure. You absolutely have to nail this.
Okay.
Yeah. So with all that, are you feeling nervous? Are you feeling excited? Are you?
I wasn't, but maybe now. Yeah. Pressure's on.
Pressure's on, mate. So, but we're just gonna go into your story a little bit, learn a little bit about you. We'd love to get some lessons in business that you've learned along the way. So just for context, you are the managing director of Arexis Innovations. How long have you been running that business for?
Arexis has been trading for, 6 years now.
6 years.
Yeah. So incorporated in Feb 2020.
Yep.
So
good timing.
Yeah, very good timing.
Yeah.
Very good timing.
If anyone remembers what happened in March 2020, you'll know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
But we'll get to that. We will get to that story. But trading for 6 years, originally opened that business in Perth, and then was there for a little while. We've sold lots of different things, and then moved back to Melbourne. What year did you come back to Melbourne?
It's a great question. It must have been 2023, late 2023, I think.
Right.
October.
Right. And so been back in Melbourne for the last 2.5 years.
Yeah.
Roughly.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
2023 seems so long ago.
It does.
Feels like I haven't been back for that long, but then it's been like 3 years. So
goes quick.
Yeah.
Goes quick. I was having this conversation with someone this morning that they were saying that they can't believe that it's already nearly March.
Mm.
You know, the years just keep getting faster and faster.
Yeah.
But let's go back a bit further. Let's go back and get some context on who Benny Cotter is. That's what I'd like to do. So, we first met when I was running an office in Geelong, right? So you were born and raised in Geelong, right?
Yeah.
Take us back to little Benny Cotter. What was life like in Geelong, mate? Growing up.
Growing up, I played probably played a fair bit of sport. Like I was always when I was a kid, probably just, either out in the backyard playing footy or, to be fair, played a bit of some video games as well, I suppose. But
you're pretty good at COD.
Yeah, I was back in the day. I try to not really talk about that. But I went all right. I've played a lot.
Yeah.
So I think I was pretty competitive.
Yep.
Played lots of sport.
Yep.
Like footy, cricket, bit of lawn bowls,
yep.
which we can maybe touch on a little bit. But
we'll definitely talk about that.
I was probably pretty focused on like school and like all education and stuff. Like,
so you're a good student?
Yeah. It was really weird actually. I think like even when I was like grade 3, I was like, I got to do well in grade 3 so I can do well in grade 4, so I can do well in grade 6, so I can go to a good school, so I can do I was just like probably a really big overthinker from like a really young age, to be fair.
Yeah.
And I just really wanted to do well in like whether it was sport or school or any of that. So yeah. So that was probably me as a kid, really.
Yeah. So fairly driven.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah.
For the most part, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. And awesome. And so growing up was fairly chilled, fairly relaxed, fairly cruisy, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, for a lot of it, yeah. And then
Yeah.
I think, I suppose when I was getting towards the end of high school, it was pretty stressful.
Yeah.
Because I was obviously quite focused on doing well.
Yeah.
So I put probably a lot of pressure on myself in that time where, and then, probably a few, I won't probably go into it too much,
That's
but
fine.
a few probably mental health things and,
Yeah.
that was probably pretty hard, to be fair, for me, but also like I got a lot of support from like my mum and all that sort of stuff. So
Yeah.
I think that was probably a really big thing for me to work through. I think it probably has probably developed me a lot as a person overall, and I think that's probably why there's probably another layer of like whether it's like determination or understanding myself and that sort of stuff that I took from that. So yeah.
I think everyone's got their own story in that as well.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's tricky. It's tricky to talk about sometimes, but no doubt there were some valuable lessons that were taken from that.
Yeah.
But so towards the end of school, obviously you were very committed to school. You were, working really hard, trying to get good grades. As you said, you wanted to go to a good school, go to a good uni, get a good job. That was the plan, wasn't it? It was to go to uni.
Yeah.
You were enrolled, I believe, or about to enroll when we met.
Yeah.
So let's go to that. Let's talk about how you got started in our industry, because you started very similar to me, quite young, at 19 years of age.
Yeah.
So tell us that part of the story.
Yeah, so I was sort of tossing up between what I was going to study, like in year 12, because like I was pretty good at like your maths and all that sort of stuff. And I was like, I should be an engineer.
Yeah.
One of my best mates was going to go into civil engineering and business.
Yep.
And I was like, oh, that sounds like a cool degree to do. And like
Does
my
sound
mum and dad would be like pumped if I went and did that. And then I kind of got partway through like year 12 and I was like, oh man, I don't really enjoy this. Like as much as like I was probably good at the subjects, I was like, I don't really want to do it. So ended up kind of just changing my mind. Like I've got a couple of aunties that are like nurses and things like that, and just sort of chatting to them and and just nothing bad happened, but I was in hospital at one point and had like a nurse that was like amazing. So I was like, that's what I want to be. I want to be the person who can like, when somebody's like feeling like really not good, like kind of make their day a bit better.
Yeah.
So ended up trying to get into nursing. So I applied to nursing. And that was kind of the plan for me. So whether that was then going to progress on to trying to do something further after that, I don't know. But nursing was kind of the plan. And to be fair, I was pretty keen to sort of get stuck into it. And then I started in a applying for jobs between school and uni.
Yeah.
The main thing I was looking for was just to get better at talking to people, to be honest, because I wasn't very good at talking to people. I kind of
probably need to be able to do that if you're going to be a nurse. You need to be able to communicate and ease concerns and things like that.
That was probably my logic. I'm like, if I'm going in and like, I don't know. I don't even know what a nurse does fully, but if I'm like going in and
taking Hannah after this.
Yeah, if I'm going in and like taking bloods or I can't be like just going in there and like not being able to speak to anyone.
Yeah.
And just be like a weirdo.
Okay.
So I was like, I want to get good at communicating so I can be a better version of that.
Yep.
So I was just looking for a job that would require me to talk to people, get outside my comfort zone. So it wasn't necessarily sales.
Yeah.
And then I applied for sales. I think came in. I actually had a phone call with Hannah.
Yeah.
And she was chatting about footy.
Yeah.
On the phone call. And I was like, oh, this sounds like a great job. But it was just because we were chatting about footy on the phone. And then I came in for an interview and I think we chatted about footy.
Probably.
I don't think I was very good. So I think you probably were like, he likes footy, so I'll give him a crack. I mean, I just thought I'd give it a crack at the time. Like it wasn't anything like I really want to do sales. I love sales. It was like, I actually don't know if I will like sales at all.
Yeah.
I actually hate the idea of sales. But I'll give it a go and see what happens. And then,
It's worked out okay, I suppose.
Yeah.
I do remember meeting you for the first time, and you joke that you didn't think you were very good and you were just given a shot because you like footy. Maybe that was the case, but you are a Geelong fan, so I wouldn't have. That probably held you back a little bit.
That's fair.
But actually, my first impression of you was that you just reminded me of me. You're a 19-year-old kid, not sure. It sounds like you were a bit more sure than what I was in terms of what was the next career plan or study plan. But worked at Macca's. It's a nice little simple thing.
Yeah.
But 19 years old, unsure whether it's uni, whether it's work, what are we trying to do here? Quite shy, quite introverted. So I chose sales because I wanted to try and develop some confidence, which it kind of sounds like that was a similar thing for you. Would you say that's...
Yeah. I think somewhat confidence. I don't think I really overthinked it too much at the time.
Yeah.
I was just, let's do something that'll help me develop, maybe, get a bit more confident so that I can be better in the role that I'm going to do in the future.
Yeah.
So, and as much as like I didn't know what sales would give me, I think after the first couple of weeks, I was like, well, I've already learnt heaps in like 2 weeks. So I think then the progression of that, I just sort of went all in on it. Cool. So,
well, take us back to your first couple of weeks then. So, again, there's going to be a lot of people that are watching and listening that are maybe newish in their sales career. And did you find it quite simple to grasp? Was it very challenging for you? How do you remember your first month in the field?
I remember I just used to be running around. I started on residential, so I just used to like run around the field because I like, if you go back to all the things that, like, I'm pretty competitive. I hate being bad at things.
Yep.
And I just felt like it was something that I didn't have the skill set for. So I decided that I'm not going to be bad at it. So I'm just going to work harder than everyone else. Yeah. So I used to just run around the field all day to try and, maybe not all day, but I worked pretty hard in the field to just get more numbers than everyone else so I could give myself a better chance of doing well. But I think I got my first promotion in like 5 or 6 days or something like that.
Right.
So as much as in my head I didn't pick it up very quick, I probably picked it up at a pretty good speed, the sales stuff.
And you think that was mainly due to the fact that you just outworked the lack of skill?
Yeah, I think so. I think I was probably a little bit better at talking to different types of people than I gave myself credit for at the time.
Yeah.
As much as like I could probably talk about this, but like even like growing up playing like lawn bowls, for example, you speak to lots of adults, and I think being good at that skill set, I can kind of transfer that into sales as well, because I was already quite good at speaking to lots of different types of people. So I think that probably gave me a little bit of a stepping stone at the start to kind of build on from there. But my first few weeks wasn't actually like, even though I did all right, I think in my first month, I probably cried in the field like 3 or 4 times, which is, I don't know if I've said that, but probably
now.
Yeah. But no, it was things like I didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't know if my mum would like me doing sales. I didn't know if what I was going to do, like especially like say a month or 2 in, I was like, I've got to go to uni. It was probably not really that at that time. I was probably not crying about do I go to uni and stuff, but it was more about like I was just like, I don't know, like it was just unsure.
A lot of uncertainty.
Yeah, so like when I was in the field, I was probably fine, but at the end of the day, I'm like, I don't know what to do, and like I like the people, and I feel like I'm doing all right, but so it wasn't necessarily about the field. It was just about what I was gonna do. I was just confused with like my life plan, I suppose.
I guess a lot of young people do feel that way. They feel like they have to have everything worked out when they finish school. There's so much societal pressure on, you're in year 12, you're finishing your school. What are you going to be? You know, what are you going to do? Even people ask my daughter Henley, she's 4. What do you want to be when you grow up? Who gives a fuck? Let her be 4.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you probably just felt a lot of maybe external pressure.
Yeah, well? I think so. I think a big thing for me was like I'd already kind of set myself up. Like I'd obviously tried quite hard at school.
Yeah.
To be fair, like I'd put in a lot of effort. That was a priority for me. And then it was kind of like something that I didn't even think would be an option was kind of like coming in.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know. I just think at the time it was just a lot of pressure for me to make a decision, and I didn't have that much time.
Yeah.
And even though I was only a few weeks in, it was like, I really enjoy this. I don't know what to do. And I think it was just kind of a whole build up of probably expectations and things like that other people had and I had. And it was just probably a lot.
And how did you end up making that decision then? Because you started in December. Uni would have kicked off in March. So that's a 3-month window, 4-month window to work out which path you wanted to take. You obviously, we know which path you took because you're still sitting here.
Yeah.
But how did you navigate all that? Because you said it was very stressful, not sure which way to go. Was there one moment that you remember where you ended up making that decision and committing to it, or was it made with many small decisions over the next period of months?
I think it was probably a lot of small decisions. I mean, doing well definitely helped my decision. So like doing well in the field, and then I started like coaching and training people. And I think that was probably a big thing. Like I'd learnt a lot already just from sales, and then you move into training people, and then I learn a lot about kind of leading people.
Yep.
And then now I'm responsible for these people. Like even after probably 2 or 3 months, I was probably responsible for 2 or 3 people. So I was like, well, as much as they'll be looked after without me, because it's not like I'm that good yet. But it was more I did feel like I wanted to kind of contribute and do something, not just kind of drop off and leave into something else. But I think that was a big contributing factor. But I think at the end of the day, I was just like, well, I've learned so much here. I could go and study at uni, but I feel like I'm already learning so much. Like, what's the value in me doing this for, say, another 12 months, learning all the skills, and then if I really want to go to uni in 12 months' time, then I'll just go to uni in 12 months' time with a better skill set. Right. So that was really my logic. It was more like doing the option that gives me more options.
Yep.
Because if I went to uni, I wasn't going to go back and do sales or do this. So it was just, taking the option that gave me more options, I suppose.
Yeah, 100%. And it sounds like you probably looked at the best and worst case scenario of each. I had a good chat with Darryl last week about this, and he was talking about his journey when he got started, and he was explaining about, leaving Ireland and sacrificing time with family and friends to commit to something here in Australia. And he was talking about, well, what's the option? He said what you said, what's the option that gives me more options? But he also said, what's the worst case scenario if I commit to something for 12 months?
Yeah.
And it sounds like you had the exact same conversation with yourself. The worst case scenario is I develop all these skills, such as communication, negotiation, confidence, leadership, coaching, mentorship, problem solving. We could probably keep listing all the skills that you learn. And if the worst case scenario is I don't hit all the career goals I want in the sales industry in 12 months, but I leave with all of these skills, that's a pretty good worst case scenario.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I don't mean to be putting words in your mouth, but it sounds like that's what you're
saying.
But
I suppose there was extra layers to that as well, just because obviously, as I said, like whether it's expectations from myself, but also like going to uni just feels like the right thing to do when like all your mates are going to uni.
Yep.
And my mum was like really keen on me going to uni. And then when I was like, I'm doing this like commission only sales job and I'm not going to go to uni because I'm doing that, it was like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Which, to be fair, for me now, I'm like, that's weird. Like, what are you doing? Yeah. Like from an extra, like if I didn't have any context behind that, like it actually doesn't, it's like, just go to uni and do the safe thing because I know that you're going to be okay.
Yep.
So it makes sense now, I think, and like she just wanted me to do what was best for me, but at the same time, like, yeah, it was probably one of the first times that I've ever kind of been like, no, like, and like backed my own decision.
Yep.
So I think that was a big thing, like just backing myself. So, yeah.
And you've briefly just touched on that you got into coaching and training people relatively early. You were probably, from memory, you were probably training people within your first 2 months, like 5-6 weeks in, probably. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe even sooner.
Yeah, I think I remember. I think I was like 3 weeks in.
3.
Yeah,
I mean, we did have some pretty fast growth in that office.
Yeah,
and you were one of the first people that we recruited down there.
Yeah, so one of the leaders wasn't in that day.
Okay.
Yeah. So there was like a morning where like there was like new starts, and then one of the leaders wasn't in, and then I think you were like, "Hey, we're going to need you to take out this new person because we don't have anyone to take him out. Look, just show him what to do. Like, just go out, do what you've been doing. You've been doing well. Just show him what to do." I still remember getting asked in a question of like, "Hey, is like the pay good here?" I'm like, "Oh, like, yeah, I think so. I've been paid like once or twice, so I don't really know yet." That was like my response.
Good leadership right there.
So yeah, so that's how I remember that it was like, so because I still remember that question, and I still remember that I answered with, "Yeah, I think so. I don't know."
Strong.
But yeah, I got lucky. I think with the first person I trained was like pretty good. Like I think they, as much as I showed sales, like they just picked it up, and it made me look a lot better than what I was, I think. So I think that kind of gave me that little bit of a confidence boost that coaching and training was something that I wanted to do as well.
Yep. And so did you feel like you picked it up fairly quickly then, or were like in your words, you said the first 1 or 2 maybe were naturally good. So did you notice as you got more experience, there was some challenges, there was some things you had to learn? Did you pick it up pretty seamlessly, or was coaching a challenge?
I mean, there definitely was challenges for me, but I think I picked it up pretty quick. Because I still remember I had kind of a small team. There was definitely gaps in like my communication and conversations and all that sort of stuff. But I think because I had to work quite hard at the start to pick up the skills, and I literally just, my whole pitch and everything was just pretty much systems. So I just got really good at systems.
Right.
So I think that allowed me to train people a lot quicker.
Yep.
And I picked up the training element quick because I was literally just, I knew the systems, and then I just showed people the systems and just talked about the systems.
Yep.
So I think it made it a lot easier for me to sort of train people from early on.
Yeah, it didn't overcomplicate it. Wasn't trying to reinvent the wheel. This is what works. Just copy this.
Yeah, because I wasn't like naturally like an amazing speaker. So it wasn't like I was just going out there and like being real enthusiastic or anything like that. It was literally just systems. So I think that kind of helped me in a way.
Love that. That's good. Cool. All right. Well, let's fast forward a little bit. So we've been in Geelong for almost a year, maybe 7 or 8 months in. You've obviously got a bit of a team that you've put together down there.
Yeah.
And then the office hit some challenges. I've spoken about this pretty publicly, so most people know the office, hit a lot of challenges. I wasn't good enough to handle those challenges as a young person trying to run their first office. And so I made the call alongside Daryl to move back to Melbourne. And I needed to work closely with him and a few other key leaders to try and rebuild my confidence, but also rebuild a team. And you decided to make the journey back to Melbourne. I pretty much, I kind of want to share how I remember it, but I kind of want to hear how you remember it, because I think that's more interesting. So how do you remember those conversations about moving back to Melbourne? Well, not back to Melbourne for you, moving to Melbourne.
To Melbourne, yeah. So like for me, like I was still living at home. So I was still 19. I hadn't, so I was about probably 9 months in maybe.
Yeah.
And yeah, obviously like the office was doing quite well, and then a couple of like key leaders had things that happened, and yeah, but I can't say I remember everything like super vividly, but I just remember having a chat with you, and you were just like, yeah, we're going to Melbourne. I'm like, oh, all right, fair enough. I just, the way I remember it is, it was just like, yeah, no, we're going to Melbourne. And I was like, oh, fair. So like, what's the go? And he's like, oh, you were like, oh, we're going to get a house up there. You can live with us. Like, we'll get a house together, and we'll go up there. And I'm like, oh, right. All right. And I think just I don't ever remember making a decision to go to Melbourne, but I was told I'm going to Melbourne. I was like, yep, all right, I'll move out of home, and I'll move up to Melbourne. I'm sure maybe that's not how it happened, but that's how I remember it.
That's hilarious, because we've had this conversation off mic a handful of times, plenty of times, and I genuinely don't think I did that. I genuinely thought it was a conversation with a handful of people, because it wasn't just you that came back with us in the end. There was one other person, if you remember.
Yeah.
But I thought it was more a conversation of, hey, we're closing down the office here. We're going to go back to, I'm going back to Melbourne. Do you want to come? Because the goal is still the same. We still want to build this thing. We still want to, open incorporate a business. The mission hasn't changed, but we're just changing the approach. But obviously, yeah, that's probably not how I delivered it back then.
Yeah, but to be fair, I think I was pretty keen on, like, I'd already kind of seen some evidence, whether that's from myself or from other people. I'm like, okay, well, this works. Like, I know it's growing, and I know what we can do.
Yeah.
So I think it was more, it wasn't actually really even it wasn't like I was deciding. I was already in, if that made sense. So maybe I just imagine it like that, because I was kind of already like, yeah.
You'd already made the decision anyway. Okay, cool. That makes me feel a little bit better.
Yeah.
Okay. And then, we moved back to Melbourne. And, we had a short crack at building an events team in Melbourne when we got back. And then we ended up flipping back to residential and linking up with some of the key leaders within the Bua team. So I think Vino at this stage was running a team of anywhere between 5 to 10 people. So he kicked on quite well. What's your memories of that? How because we had some pretty fast growth off the back of jumping back into the Melbourne system.
Yeah.
How was that for you?
Yeah, I think it was quite a bit different, because I'd only probably been on like a few visits up to the Melbourne office. So like kind of getting stuck in for the first little bit probably felt like just like a little bit of a getaway. Like it just felt like a new environment. It was pretty fresh. So, and there was so many other leaders. Whereas like in Geelong, we had the same leaders that I'd been around for like however long, and obviously probably not as much towards the end. But like the quality of probably leader when I went up to Melbourne, like you've got all these other people roaming around, and I'm like, oh man, okay.
Yeah. And
probably opened my eyes up a little bit more to what was possible and how good you can get in a way. But yeah, so yeah, when we moved back, when I moved up to Melbourne, it was obviously a big change for me because I hadn't lived out of home. So it was a good chance for me to just really probably lock in and focus, to be fair. I just remember for probably 12 months or so, I was just like locked in to building something. So yeah, when we kind of flipped at the start of 2018, I think it would have been.
Yep.
I literally had like 0 people on my team. And then, so I was kind of starting from scratch a year in. And then I think within 3 or 4 months, I'd gone from 0 people to 8 people. And then another like 2 months later, so by June or July, I had 15 people on my team. So like within 6 months, I'd built a team of like 15 people.
Yeah.
So.
With, you just prompted a question there. So a lot of people would struggle with the fact that they'd been doing something for a year and then they feel like they're starting again. Yeah. or starting from scratch, as you said it, right? So what was your mindset towards that challenge when it was February 2018 and, you know, our team was 2 people, me and you. What was your mindset towards that challenge of, okay, I'm starting from scratch 1 year into this journey?
I mean, obviously, like to start with, obviously not starting from scratch.
Okay.
As much as on paper, like if you're writing out your team or whatever, yes, you are starting from scratch. But if I look at the development that I had in my first 12 months, you could see, and I think this is like the benefit of like your first sort of, well, few months, but first 12 months is you can really see the growth from day one to the end of the first year. Yeah. And I think for me, I'm just like I'm way better than I was at the start. So I think I focused a lot more on like the growth that I'd had.
Yeah.
And also probably the responsibility that I had as well, because even though, I didn't have anyone on my team, like the way that I was, whether it was the way I was treated with you or with Daryl, I was seen as a leader. So I think from there, I just acted as a leader and continued to kind of grow as if I was going to make it there anyway.
Right.
So I don't think it really changed anything for me, to be honest. Like I wasn't in a slump. I was just, sweet, let's go. Like I get to build it again.
Yeah.
And I get to build it better because I'm better.
Great. That's a strangely optimistic mindset from you. You're not a natural optimist. So I find that very interesting. People that know you will find that very interesting. But that was it. It was, I've already got the skill set because I've developed so much. So I'm not starting from scratch, because if I was starting from scratch, I would have lost all the skills. Right? So it was just about, we can do it better, we can do it quicker.
Yeah. I think internally, I am reasonably, I think you have to be somewhat optimistic. Like I'm probably, if you go like based on an onion, I'm probably like outwardly sometimes I'm like optimistic just because I think optimism is important if you're trying to lead people.
Yep.
Then the next one, I'm pessimistic because I focus on the things that can go wrong.
Yep.
But then the layer below that, I'm optimistic that regardless of what challenges I have, I can get through them, if that makes sense.
Yep.
So I think for me, like there's layers to my optimism and pessimism.
Yeah.
I look for challenges, but I'm confident that
you can beat them.
I can get through them. Yeah.
Yeah, nice. That's cool. I thought of Shrek when you.
Yeah, that's as soon as I brought up an onion. Yeah.
Yeah. I went straight to Shrek.
Yeah.
But I love that analogy. That's really good. I'm going to steal that. Okay, cool. So let's keep going. So you said you had some really fast growth in that team. You know, I think it was 6 months later, you had 15 people in your team. If we fast forward again another probably 12 months, you were on a plane to Perth.
Yeah.
So talk us through that journey, because moving from Geelong to Melbourne is one thing that can be a little bit daunting for somebody, moving an hour up the road. You moved 4-hour flight across the country. Talk to us about that. How'd that come about?
Yeah, I remember, I think it was Noosa. We had a management retreat or getaway.
Yep.
And I think we had like a meeting with one of the supply agencies, and they basically said, we need somebody in Perth like yesterday. But all of these companies are like, yeah, we might do it in like 6 months or 12 months. Does anybody want to run an office in Perth like soon? And I just remember I was just put my hand up and I said, yeah, I'll do that. And they're like, awesome, sweet. Well, we'll have you over there in the next couple of months for like a development trip, and then, you'll be over there in a few months. I'm like, okay, cool. I think I got back to my room that night and I was like, I don't know if I want to move to Perth. I genuinely thought Perth was like a desert. I thought Perth was like a desert with like a little town in the middle. And I was like, I don't know how I feel about this. So I started researching Perth, and turns out it's not a desert with like a little town in the middle. It's actually a pretty big city. So
that's good to know.
Yeah, so
Probably eased some concerns there.
yeah, but literally 2 months later, we're on a development trip over to Perth.
Yeah.
So we worked with like there was another office over there, so we kind of used their office as a bit of a base and sort of got out there and trialed some things, and I just kind of set myself up to be able to move over to Perth, and we took a few people over to Perth that would have been 2019.
Yeah. So it would have been
June or July 2019.
July 2019, I reckon.
Yeah.
Was when we expanded over there.
Yeah.
And so how was that experience building an office from scratch? You would have taken a handful of people you did take, I think 4 or 5 people. 4 people with you to launch it. Take us through the ups and downs of trying to build an office from scratch, across the other side of the country. Because it would have been fairly isolating. It's a different time zone. It's, even if I'm just talking from my point of view, I found it quite difficult to be a good mentor and actually get on the phone consistently with you, because I was trying to build my own thing while you were doing that over there. What were the challenges you faced trying to get it off the ground?
Yeah, I think that was one of those things where I was like pessimistic, optimistic, all kind of in one. Like I don't have any evidence to know that I can run an office independently. Like I know that I can run a team, but can I run an office? Can I make it work? And I think obviously, we had some pretty good people that moved over, so that definitely helped. But yeah, for me, I mean, I think I did put a lot of pressure on myself. I probably had to learn a lot before I got good at running a good team sustainably, like just the way that I carried myself, because I spent a lot of time around the guys, and obviously like there's a lot of things that you are learning for the first time when you're running an office for the first time. So I think there's probably a lot of things that I had to get better at in the way that I managed myself and managed others. I think that was probably a big thing for me to learn, because I think
We'll go into detail. What were the couple of things you had to adjust in terms of managing yourself and others?
I think I was really keen to just go 100%. I took a lot of how the office ran as how I valued myself as well. So, right. And I know a lot of people say that that's like a bad thing. It is in part, but it's also somewhat of a good thing, because it means that you really kind of work hard and do what it takes to make it successful. Mm-hmm. But if things don't go right, then that's obviously the negative. So I think it puts a lot of pressure on you and mentally, which means that like when I'm showing up for the team, like you can probably be a little bit more reactive, a little bit more, I suppose, emotional, which is probably one of the weak points that I had. I still remember somebody having a conversation with me, and they were like, "Oh, I'd prefer to catch up in the afternoon, because if we catch up in the morning, I know that like there's going to be stuff going on, and you're going to be like more stressed, and you're going to be more direct." And I'm like, "Okay, fair." But yeah, it's things that I didn't really notice in myself, but little things like that, and then kind of reflecting on it, it was like I probably was very reactive, and because I took it all on myself to make sure everything ran well, which then sometimes, if things didn't go well, like
you blamed yourself.
Yeah, blame myself, and it wasn't necessarily that I was angry at other people. I was like annoyed at myself, and I'm like, how can we get this to work? And I was just trying to get it working as quickly as possible, instead of like it's a people-based industry, like just treating people as people. I don't think I was a dick, but make it sound like I was.
You just took a lot of responsibility and a lot of ownership, and it meant when shit hit the fan, it meant you were a bit emotional when you could have been a bit more empathetic.
Yeah, and I think that one of the big things was like I obviously lived with the team as well, or lived with the guys that we moved over with to start with. So I think that obviously made it a bit tricky as well, because there was never really a time for me to like switch off.
Yeah.
So I think that was a big thing for me as well.
Yeah, it is tricky. It's the balance between well, because you also moved over with them as, I guess, colleagues, but you were the one running the office.
Yeah.
So it was actually, you went from a colleague and mate and friendship to, we still are those things, but I also am in charge now.
Yeah. And I was probably the youngest or second youngest.
Yeah, you would have been the youngest in that group as well.
Yeah.
So that would have been an interesting dynamic. And if you're living with them, and then it's tricky. But things obviously went fairly well, like despite those challenges, because, you know, I think it was only 12 months or 18 months after you moved to Perth. That was when you incorporated, or was it quicker than that?
No, it was quicker. It was
6 months.
It was about, moved over to Perth in, I think it was July.
Yeah.
And then incorporated in
February.
Feb of
2020.
2020.
Yeah. So it was like 7 months later. Okay. Good memory, me. So yeah, despite those challenges, and it does sound like you are a little bit harsh on yourself sometimes, because to take a business from 4 or 5 people in a brand new city that you've never really been to before, and to incorporate a company 7 months later is no mean feat. So what was that day like? Was that a nice little, because we often talk about challenges, but like sometimes it's good to reflect on the good times. Like that would have been a pretty cool day.
It was. I still remember, I think I was chatting to you or Daryl, probably before I incorporated, and I was like, I don't know if I'm ready. Like, I don't know if I should do it. Like, even though, like, yeah, I know the team's kind of, like, the sales are going okay, and I don't know if I'm good enough. And I still, right up to probably the day of incorporating, because a lot of people talk about, like, how set goals, they're like, in their first month, they're like, I want to run an office, I want to run a team, I want to, like, but for me, it was kind of like, I don't know if I'll get there, like, the whole way through, even though, like, I think I'm good enough, but I don't know if I'll.
That whole weird optimism, pessimism, onion.
Yeah. So, I think for me, I really didn't know if I was good enough to be able to run an office or run a company. So having a conversation, it was like, look at your numbers. Like, it was being a lot more logical about it. Yeah. And then I was like, yeah, look, you're right. Worst case scenario, it just doesn't work. But that's a really pessimistic way to look at it. But yeah, I think I just kind of reflected and realized I probably have developed a lot of the skills over the last probably few years that I could go out and incorporate. So yeah, when I incorporated, it wasn't until I probably like signed off the last thing and we're actually trading that I was like, oh, I've actually
done it.
Yeah, I'm running a company.
Achieved one of the big goals that you've set.
Yeah. So that was probably.
So how did it feel?
I think for me, I was obviously excited, but also probably nervous for what was to come, because as much as I'm like, my role probably doesn't change that much because I'd obviously already been running the office. I do have a lot of responsibility now. It's like, oh man, now I've got to pay people. Now I've got to like do all this other. I've got to make sure the team performs, otherwise we don't do well. So it was like great, but I was also like, all right, this next like 6 months is really important for making sure that the team goes really well.
Yep.
And then we had COVID about a month later. It was actually on week 3, I think. Week 3 we had COVID. So
you done back-to-back PBs, week 1 and 2.
Pretty much.
And shut down.
Yeah, I was actually in Melbourne because we were doing like a little like we'd taken a couple of guys back to Melbourne to be like, yeah, sweet, we've incorporated. We'll run through some stuff, catch up with like have a couple of meetings.
Yep.
And then I was getting these calls. It's like, yeah, this COVID thing's probably like not good. And I was like, it'll be fine. Don't worry about it. And then the next day it was like, no, like I think this COVID thing's like not good. I think we should like not be working. And I'm like, give it another day. We'll see. And then like the third day I'm calling up. I'm like, everyone needs to go home. Like just, all right, we need to pull that. So, and that was tricky because obviously I'm across the other side of the country as well. So for me,
wasn't as easy as jumping borders. Not that that's an easy solution, but when you're in Western Australia, it's not like you can just drive to the next state.
Yeah, but at that time we didn't even know what was going on. It was like, it might be a few days, it might be a week, it might be, who knows? Like, I probably didn't actually expect it to be longer than a couple of weeks. Yeah. And then obviously it went a lot longer than that. So for me, I was lucky that I was in Perth, because obviously it probably wasn't as, didn't hit as hard, I suppose, from a business perspective. But it was still a lot. Like, although we like kind of switched guys and kind of made it work so they could work, like profitability wise, it was not good. So I think I'd probably put $30,000 in to incorporate my company. And I still remember being on a call with like accounts, and it was like at like $4,000. And I'm like, if I don't hit the field next week, we're screwed. And yeah, because it was just like, I'm not going to be able to pay wages. Like, I'm going to have to find money from somewhere and pay people. And then we were lucky that literally basically like the week that we needed to hit the field, we got back out in the field, did some sales, picked it up, and then, we kind of took off from there. So, I think that kind of little patch in there was probably the part that gave me the most confidence. Even like, it was probably the most challenging time, but I think me getting through that challenge gave me the most confidence, because if I can run a business through that when I'm new to running a company, then I can probably get through anything.
Well, there's not going to be, well, hopefully, a global pandemic every who knows? Let's not get into that. But wow, that's see, I didn't even know that. That's crazy. I didn't even know a lot of that. We could cut all that shit out, as in my shit just now. I'm looking at the time, and we need to kind of. So I'm going to skip over the rest of the COVID stuff.
Okay.
So once you got through that, and you said you took off from there, you were running your business there for I think 3 years. Had a lot of success, did really well, and then eventually you decided to make the call to come back to Melbourne. What was the driving force behind that decision? I know you're originally from Victoria. Was that the big pull to come back?
There was a few things. I mean, look, first off, we were probably in a spot where I realised that if I wanted to have somebody run the Perth office and me to move somewhere else, because my end goal wasn't to be in Perth.
Yep.
But I realised that I was probably a couple of years, like maybe even a couple of years away from that. If we did it really quickly, then maybe 12 months. But realistically, I'm probably 2 years away from doing that.
From developing someone to run Perth so that you could move back?
Yeah. So, and at the time we were working on solar, and as much as like we were doing okay financially and all that sort of stuff, I just didn't really enjoy it. Like, I literally was just kind of making it through each day. And it was weird because like that wasn't how I went over to Perth. And I think the big thing on that was I just wasn't focused on developing people anymore. Yeah. I actually was going on a road trip to, where were we going? It doesn't matter. It was a road trip. It was to Kalgoorlie. That's where it was. It's a 6-hour drive. And I listened to a book by Simon Sinek, which is Start With Why. Mm-hmm. So the book was about 6 hours or 6.5, and the drive was about 6.5 hours. So I listened to the whole book on that drive. Because I was like, I don't know why I'm feeling not inspired anymore. So then I listened to the book, and I realized like the reason why I decided that I wanted to do this was about me growing myself and helping other people grow. So I'm not getting that anymore. And that's why I'm not inspired every day to kind of get up and work and help people, because it's just, the environment was just different. Partially because of probably the industry, partially just because of where we're at, I think. So I literally got out of the car that day. I think it was like my birthday too. Got out of the car, called Daryl, and I was like, I think I'm going to move back to Melbourne. I just want to be around other people, because I was the most experienced person basically around me, like running my office for 3 years basically. I had other people around, but so for me, I was just like, I want to get around other people who are better in different areas than me, and I want my guys to be around other people who are more experienced and not just hear me every day. It was a big call because I knew that there would be some people who wouldn't want to move to Melbourne, some good people. But I think that was the decision that I had to make for me, but also for the team long term.
Yep. To try and reignite that love for helping other people and building other people, because you steered away from that a little bit.
Yeah, I think not that this is necessarily the wrong thing, but I think there was probably a lot of people around me that were really focused on the financial side and the money side, which probably meant that I lent into that a little bit more than what I had before. And not that that's a bad thing, because like money's good, but for me, it can't be the main reason that I do something.
Yeah.
Because it just doesn't inspire me that much. Like it's great. Don't get me wrong. Like, I think that it's can be a motivator, but it can't be the only motivator.
Yeah, I can 100% agree with that. Yeah, for sure. Okay, great. And now, we said at the start, you've been back in Melbourne now for 3 years. You've built a really good crew here. You would have come back with only 1 or 2 people from memory.
Yeah, I moved over with 2.
And yeah, you've got a really great crew here. You guys have had an awesome, probably last 6 to 8 months where you've grown a lot. Talk us through what that's been like. You know, what are you proud of with that team, and what are the goals moving forward with this team? What's the next 12 to 24 months look like?
Yeah, I think probably this time last year, we weren't necessarily doing all that good. I mean, we're doing okay, but definitely not anywhere near where I wanted to be. For me, I just was like, I need to kind of get stuck in and really focus on kind of developing the next wave of people. And in the end, it probably wasn't really me that did that. Like, obviously you got your Freddies and your Harrys and Gabby, who did a lot of that and kind of helped develop the next wave of leaders.
Yep.
I don't really know if I should say lucky, but yeah, I guess in a way probably lucky. We found, I don't know, I don't like the word lucky that much. We found some really good people, and they've become like obviously a big part of the team. And I think we've just been able to build around that kind of core group.
Yep.
So that's basically what's happened. It's not necessarily me. It's just like great people who are now developing and building the team together. So I think that makes a big difference.
For sure. I think you find great people when there is great leadership, though. So, you know, you might not give yourself too much credit because you're that sort of guy, but maybe I'll give you the credit then, because what you have done in the last 8 months is not easy, and you have built a great crew there, and it's only going to keep going, and that's a lot to do with the leadership that you've shown. So I think the goal is just to keep that kind of flowing down to the next wave of people as well, and giving some opportunities to people who have put in a lot of work over the last probably 8 months. So for sure.
The next few things, we've got a few expansion plans over the next probably 12 months, 2 years.
Yep.
So a couple of expansions is the goal.
Where are we going? You're going to put it on the record?
Oh, I'll put it on the record. Adelaide is probably the one that makes the most sense at the moment. So Adelaide, Perth, and Sydney.
Perth 2.0?
Probably the 3 big ones that we're looking at the moment. So
cool.
It's literally just going to be building some averages around the kind of the next campaign and next team and all that sort of stuff, and then from there, kind of building.
Give some of that core team their shot to go and launch their business.
Yeah. So it's just developing the next wave of leaders.
Amazing. All right, very good. A couple of things to finish off with. All right, I've got a little segment I like to do. I didn't tell you about this. Yeah, this is supposed to be unprepped.
Okay.
I call it quick hands, but it
Oh.
doesn't actually make sense because this isn't a footy podcast. But
Okay.
I like footy, so I called it quick hands. So quick questions, quick answers, yeah?
Okay.
All right, sweet. Remind everyone, what's your coffee order?
Ice long black.
Very good. Are you a beer or wine man?
I'll say beer for now.
Beer for now.
Beer.
Okay. Watch this space. What's the book that's probably impacted you the most?
Oh, I mean, I probably have to say start with why.
Yeah.
After what I just talked about. But I think there's a lot of good like leadership books. Like 7 Habits of Highly Effective People is probably like one of the big ones that, like, when I was starting like leading and running a team, I think that was probably a big one. But yeah, one of those 2 probably.
Great ones. Second last one. Best bit of advice that has impacted you along the journey from anyone?
I think probably one of the best pieces of advice that I've got is to not necessarily try to copy somebody else. I think take the tools from other people that you learn, but you're not going to be like other people. So be your own kind of version of a leader. Like that's what makes you, your team, your company different. So don't try to be something that you're not, because I think I've probably tried to be somebody that I'm not over the course of time. And even if it works, you don't enjoy it. So for me, I think it's just be the person who you are and then let the kind of results come from there. Don't try to be somebody that you're not. I think that works at pretty much every level as well.
Authentic leadership.
Yeah.
So there's systems to leadership, but be your authentic version of that.
Yeah.
Love that. Do you remember who gave you that bit of advice? Probably many people.
Probably comes from a lot of different places, I think. You probably have to hear it a lot of times, and I don't want to give one person credit for something that's probably come from lots of people. So
Fair. It was from me. And then my closing question. Okay, so we do have a tradition. I mentioned this because, the examples I like to use, Diary of a CEO has the previous guests leaves the question for the current guest. Tim Ferriss has his billboard question.
Yeah.
This is my version of that, okay? What's a question you never or rarely get asked that you wish people asked you more?
Question that...
Yeah, because you get hit up for advice. We all do as business owners, and there's always people coming through, looking for advice. And sometimes they don't ask the right questions. And you've had that experience. So what's a question that you rarely or never get asked that you should get asked, or people should ask you more?
Come ask me about this, I tell you. Like, I'm pretty good. I don't know, it just feels like...
No, I don't mean that. I just mean it's not about the question. That's not about you. It's not about like, I'm the best at this, come and ask me. It's just, what's a question that you very rarely or never get asked that you wish you got asked more?
I think one of the things that people should ask about more is just like, this sounds so... this is very uninspiring, but just to do with like personal organization, personal planning, and even just mentality stuff, like personal organization. I know that's probably not like a fun thing but I think the biggest reason why people struggle with things is probably like external. So I think asking questions around like, prepping yourself, planning. How do I put myself in a state to be better, as opposed to all these other things that are just kind of reactive things that you could add on top of that.
Yeah.
So I think start with the base level of, how do I get myself to be a better version of myself?
Yeah, 100%. I know what you're saying. You're saying sometimes anxiety or stress comes from a lack of organization because you're letting your life run you instead of taking control and actually organizing yourself.
Yeah.
And so the question people should be asking is, what are some tools or some things that I can use to get better at personal organization?
Yeah.
So I think that's a good answer. It's a very practical answer. I wouldn't expect anything else.
Fair.
It's great. Cool, man. Thanks for jumping on with us. This has been awesome to reflect. I've actually enjoyed this a lot, to go over the journey, because obviously I've been there for a fair chunk of it, or for all of it. And so there's been a lot of value in this episode. I know everyone's going to get a fair bit out of this. So thanks for joining us, mate.
Appreciate you having me.